And good morning. So welcome to some Saturday morning yoga. Standing at the top of our mats in Tadasana in a mountain pose. And that can be done with your feet a few inches apart and your arms relaxing down by the sides of your body without it letting your shoulders or even your head start to pull forward. So bring a little engagement into the muscles of your upper back to keep the shoulders somewhat down and back. And then take the sides of your neck and actually pull them back a little bit as well. Okay, and roll the weight a little forward towards your toes. Roll the weight a little bit back towards your heels. And then find yourself settling somewhere in the center. So you'll start to feel engagement in the arches of your feet. And hopefully some alignment of your hips being over your ankles. Close your eyes just for a few moments. Begin to explore the breath, the texture, perhaps the quality or the depth of your breathing. And nothing more rewarding and just such a feel-good thing than breathing. We'll limit it to just our nose breathing in and out. And we'll monitor that throughout class because the quality of the pose really is determined by the freedom of the breath that you can achieve when you are in a yoga posture. Certainly something that's a little bit easier to explore or feel in a standing posture like this. This is very much a yoga pose, albeit a simple one, but a good place to start, that lesson of breath and asana. Let's reach our arms up over our heads. Start to lengthen the sides of your body and lift your heart up. Reach right up through the tips of your fingertips. So without straining or getting so much into your shoulders, don't clench anything, but release everything as you stretch up, let's say, towards the sky or the ceiling or whatever it is up above. And then join your hands together and place them in front of your heart. Good. So now we're going to take our feet out towards the edges of the mat. So we're still at the top of the mat. We're just taking our feet out. So we're in a fairly wide stance here. Okay, we're going to start with a pyramid pose. So I want you to take a quarter turn to your left. So you're facing the left side, and now your feet are about 3 feet apart. Place your hands on your hips, pull your left hip back, and let's take a forward fold over our left leg. Release your fingertips down to the floor or perhaps down to blocks if you have that available to you. If necessary, bend your left leg a little tiny bit if you need that little bit of space into your spine. The more you straighten your legs, the deeper the stretch the experience will be on your body. Not so much so that you begin to wince or that you stop breathing. Now go to your right leg and press your right heel down. Start to squeeze your right quad a bit. A little bit easier to get engagement into your right leg as we want to make sure we're holding attention to our back legs and any of our standing poses here. This is a great way to say hello to the left leg, the left hip, the left glute, and such. Very nice. I'm going to take one more breath here. Good way to get into the spine. And then slowly start to lift yourself up. Bring yourself up to a stance. Stay in this position. Bring your arms up over your head. Grab your right wrist with your left hand and lean side body bend to your left. Squeeze your inner thighs together and allow the left hip flexors and the right hip flexors. It's the right hip flexors to open up and to stretch just a little tiny bit. This is a good one. Keep your chin away from your chest, pull your ribcage away from your hips, and still press through your right heel. Very nice. And then inhale, breathing, come back up to center. Place your hands on your hips, and now pivot back towards the front of your mat. Okay? Your feet are still a little wide, facing forward. Take your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. Pull your knuckles back. Take a little back bend here. Push your hips and your thighs forward again. Open up your chest. Very nice. Slight bend to your knees, and now bring this into a forward fold. So you're coming down with a nice long spine here, right? Even with the knees a little bit bent, you can find yourself getting some space. Let the head and the chest hang down. Pull your knuckles away from your low back. Let the head relax. Let the neck find some space. And the whole back part of the body start to open up. You can, if you want, start to work on straightening out your legs a little. That will make things a little juicier. But don't go back to your heels if you do that. See if you can keep the weight more towards the arches or the center of your feet. And now very gently, you can bend your knees a bit. Bring yourself back up to a stand. All right, release your grip, hands to your hips. And now pivot yourself to your right. So you're facing the right side of your mat, the room, whatever. Your right leg is forward, your left leg behind you. Let's take a forward fold here. Coming down over your right leg. Come into it slowly. Put your hands down. The actual physical movement of a forward fold is relatively easy, so sometimes we take it a little fast and our backs aren't ready. Find somewhat of a slower pace, particularly at the beginning of your practice. Allow your muscles to find these new shapes. Give your lungs a chance to breathe into this posture. Let your head hang, let it relax into the forward fold. Again, juice up the back leg, that's your left leg in this case, keeping the heel pressed down, maybe finding some space into your right leg as you stretch out through those muscles and the hamstrings and such. Relax the head and the neck. One more breath here. Very nice. And then let's bring ourselves back up to a stand. Hands to your hips. Come on up. Stay here. Bring your arms up over your head. Grab your left wrist. With your right hand, lean to the right. Good. And now the left side starts to open up really quite a bit from the knee to the elbow. I would say. Keep the chin lifted, avoid collapsing over to the right side, get into some left side body. Let your left lung start to stretch a little tiny bit. Use a little power, find a little bit of depth. Very nice. Inhale, come back up, place your hands on your hips. Well done. Spin yourself back forward. So we're back to this wide-legged stance here. Let's inhale now. Reach the arms up over the head, lean back a little bit. So you have a little bit of space into your back to take a little arch here. Good. And then exhale, hands together. Bend your knees a bit and come down. Forward fold into your wide-legged. Good. Take an inhale, half lift. And now bend down into a squat. So drop down into your heels. You can keep your hands on the floor. So squats can be difficult for a lot of people. And I know those of you that are watching now can come into it easily. But for those that aren't, you can take a little support with your hands, like I'm demonstrating here. You don't have to come down into it completely deeply. You can place your hands behind you for a little support. You can also sit on a block. See if you can find length into your spine, right? As you start to warm up a little bit deeper now into your hips and into your knees. Very nice. Take one more breath here. Good. And now let's place our hands behind like I am and come down to the ground. All right, so place your hips down on the floor. Bring your feet in a little closer to each other and reach your arms forward. Good. And now slowly start to roll down onto your spine, one vertebrae at a time. Keep reaching through the fingers. Bring the chin into the chest. You gotta roll over your sacrum. That takes a lot of belly strength. And then come down onto the floor. Good. Walk your feet in a bit so they're underneath your knees. So the cat-cows today will be our dynamic bridges. Start with your arms by your side. And inhale, breathe in. Push down through your feet. Lift your hips up and lift your arms all the way up over your head. Press the backs of your hands on the floor. And then exhale, breathe in, slowly lower everything down, your upper, middle, and lower spine. Good. Arms two. Inhale, breathing again. You don't have to wait for my words. Maybe you have a breath, body, rhythm, and movement that's a little different than mine. That's perfectly okay. I want you to feel your breath, and I want you to feel the undulation or the movement of the spine, particularly in the middle and upper part of your back. That can be so rewarding. Very nice. Take one more of these. Great way to warm up after all those forward folds and come back down. Very nice. And take your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers. We'll take some abdominal crunches from here. Lift your chest and your shoulder blades up. Bring your nose towards your thighs and then lower down. And we're going to take 10 of these, lifting up, squeezing into your belly, right? Starting to wake up. Stoke the fire, as they say, in Manipura, your solar plexus, where we have a lot of heat. We can get a lot of power. On an energetic note, we can get a lot of intuitive information, right? Listening to your gut, if you will. Very nice. Stay lifted up, supporting your head. Try and keep your elbows wide so that you're not pulling on your head. Good. Probably down to our last 3 here. Bringing your shoulder blades up off the floor, squeezing your belly to lift yourself up. Very nice. And release back down. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Thread the needle, and I want you to lift your left leg up or straighten your leg up, okay? So you're going to hold underneath your left leg, flex through your left foot, and roll your hips down. Now use your right elbow to push your right knee away from you or your right thigh away from you, and then press firmly your entire back into the ground, right? For a little bit more hip and hamstring stretch, reach up to your left calf. So kind of climb over your right leg. Your hips might lift up just a bit. And now try and lie everything back down here. So now you're getting a little bit more deeper into the right hip and into the left hamstring. Keep your left heel flat. One more breath here. Very nice. And then gently release down. Grab your right knee, pull your right knee into your chest. Let the left leg extend on the floor. Good. And then take little circles with your right knee. Just little sweet, little tiny, slow circles. Moving your thigh bone a bit into your hip socket. Good. And then go the other way just a few times. This is good for the low back as well. It's good to lubricate your joints. Very nice. Let's take that on the other side. Place the right foot down, cross your left ankle over the right thigh. Thread the needle, but reach through underneath your right leg. And then extend the right leg up towards the ceiling, flexing the right foot. Okay, so other side, hips down, shoulders down, back flat. Keeping your right foot flexed as much as possible, kicking up through the heel. Roll your hips down so your left hip starts to open up a little tiny bit, pushing it with your left elbow. Good. And then for a little bit more, you can lift your head and your chest up, get the belly involved, and then reach up for your right shin or calf, holding it with both hands. And then maybe lying back down and getting a deeper experience into the left hip. Now unclench the left hip. So kind of let that go just a little bit, right? Kind of soften it so you don't resist yourself. Let this stretch go deep into the joint. Really, really sweet place to be. One more breath. Good. And now release, grab your left leg, right? Pull the left knee towards your left shoulder. Let the right leg stay extended on the floor. Draw your tiny circles with your left hip. Little tiny, nourishing, sometimes the simplest, littlest things are the best. Good, go the other way. Take it around the other side. The other direction. Nice. And now bring your both knees into your chest. Good. Hold underneath your knees and start rolling along your back. So just roll forward and back a few times. Using a generous amount of momentum, see if you can stand up. Put your feet down and bring yourself back up to a standing position. Not a hill to die on if you didn't get that, but we will meet back up at the top of our mats. Here we go. Inhale, breathing. Lift your arms up over your head and exhale, breathing. Take a forward fold, please. Inhale, breathing, half lift. Downward facing dog. Step your feet to the back of the mat. Take a nice long dog. Let the spine all sorts of length. Your upper body, your shoulders, good. Press your heels towards the floor. Quadriceps pull back, tailbone lifts up. Relax the head of the neck. Press evenly throughout all parts of your hands, all parts pressing down, engaging all the muscles of your arm. Very strong pose, the downward facing dog. Come forward into plank pose. Come high on your tippy toes for a little bit of a stronger experience. Push down through the arms and pull the belly up nice and tight. And let's lower down to the ground. See if you can land your body evenly. Release your feet and inhale, take a cobra pose. Lift your chest up, lift your heart up. Good. Exhale, breathing, lower down. Take a couple more of those. Now engage your legs. As you inhale, lift your chest. Reach your toes back even further. Kneecaps lift up. Exhale, breathing, lower down. One more time. Keep the belly tight. The hips press down. Find the muscles in your upper back. Lift up a little bit more. And then slowly lower back down. Child's pose. Push your hips back towards your heels. Take your knees any distance or any space apart, if you will, comfortably. And let your head and your chest drop down. See if you can get your forehead on the floor. Widen your knees a little bit more. But as you do that, keep your hips pushing back towards your heels. Child's pose is a very deep posture, very deep pose for the lower joints and legs and knees and such. Head slightly below the heart. Give yourself a few breaths here. Well done. Here we go. Extend the arms back out in front of you and come back to downward facing dog. Very nice. From your dog, take your right leg and stretch it up behind you. Regardless of how high it lifts, push through the heel and get full extension in the leg. Now press your left heel a little closer to the ground. Maybe lift your right leg up a little higher. And then take your right foot and step it up in between your hands. Come into a runner's lunge. Land on your fingertips. Good. Push through your back heel. Pick up your right arm. Twist. This twist feels good. Open up your chest. Keep your right knee pointing forward. Reach up through your right fingertips. Bring your right hand down and step your left foot up to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, breathing, fold. Good. Inhale, bring yourself all the way up to a stand. And exhale, breathing, take your hands to your heart center. Good. So Surya Namaskar A, inhale, arms up. Exhale, breathing, and forward fold. Come down. Inhale, half lift. Either step, maybe jump back into Chaturanga. Half lift. Upward facing dog. Push through your arms. Lift your chest up. Downward facing dog. Left leg lifts up into the air. Inhale, breathing. Lift and extend. Press the right heel down. Reach through your left heel. Spine long. Exhale, step the foot forward in between your hands. Runner's lunge here. Press into your right hand. Pick up your left arm. Open up. Good. Turn your chest. Good. Lean your head back a little tiny bit. And now bring your left hand down. Step your right foot up to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Good. Inhale, breathing, come all the way up. And exhale, breathing, bring your hands to your heart center. Very nice. Place your left hand on your left hip. We're going to balance on our left leg. Now lift your right leg up. Reach down on the inside of the right knee and pistol grip your right big toe with your hand and then stand up. So this is your pose, right? Stay strong and lifted in your left leg. Try and keep your back flat. Bring your left arm up by your ear. Maybe you start to extend the right leg. Okay? Extending it as best as you can. Pull your right shoulder back. Pull your right hip back. And stand up nice and tall. Good. One more breath. And then release. Bend the leg. Hand to the hip. And place the right foot down. Okay. Utthita Hasta, Padangusthasana, right hand to right hip. Firm up your right leg and lift your left. Lean forward to grab the toe and then stand back up. And maybe this is your pose, right? It's a deep posture. Already into our hamstrings on the right side. Bring the right arm up by your ear. And then if available, stretch your left leg out. Good. Pull your left shoulder back. Extend the leg fully. Lift up through your chest. Stand tall through your right leg and your right arm. One more breath. And then release, bending the knee and placing the foot back down on the floor. It's a beautiful, beautiful pose. Inhale, breathing, arms up. We move on. Exhale, breathing, and forward fold. Come down. Good. Half lift, inhale, and step your right leg to the back of the mat. Come into a high crescent lunge. Bend your left leg. Lift your chest up. You can bend your right leg and bring your arms up over your head. So you'll notice my back knee is bent, and it helps me to hold my chest up, okay? Pull your belly in, and I can get a deeper bend down into my front leg as a result of that. Pull your arms back just a bit and reach through your fingertips. Maybe start to straighten the back leg. Once you start to warm up, get a little juicier into the pose. Feel the back muscles engage, pull your belly in. Take your hands behind you, interlace your fingers. Pull your knuckles away from you and straighten your left leg. Turn to the right, now you're in a wide-legged stance, and come down. Drop your head in your chest. Pull your knuckles up and away from you. Let the head and the chest hang down, tailbone lifts up. Shift the weight a little bit towards the toes. Now we're warmed up. Pull the knuckles away so the shoulders pull back as well. Let the chest stretch out. One more breath. And inhale, breathing, lift all the way up. All right. Release your grip. Turn your left toes towards the front of your mat. And kind of angle your right foot back. So we're coming into Warrior Two. You might find a wider stance with this. Place your hands on your hips. Bend into your left leg a couple of times. Just take a few pulses. Notice how good this feels. Right, holding your chest up and starting to bring attention to the back leg. And then open out your Warrior Two pose. Nice, strong stance. Shoulders are down, arms are wide. Good. A little bit of a twist to the spine as the right hip drops down, right shoulder pulls back. Pull your belly in. Good. Drop down into your left hip, keeping the weight on the outside of your left foot. Bring your eye gaze over your left fingertips. Good. 2 more breaths here. Fantastic posture. Warrior Two. 1 more breath. Good. And then triangle. So as you straighten the left leg, lean forward with your left hand, your left arm. Bring it down towards the shin. Take the right arm up. Push your pelvis towards the right. In other words, to what you're looking at in that direction. And then bring your right shoulder back a bit. So you'll feel a little bit of a twist. Firm up your legs to give you that kind of freedom in your upper body. You really need a solid lower body. And then look up if that's okay with your neck. Breathe. Find your breath in every shape we take. Good. Now reverse it. Lift up and lean back. Right. Wonderful, wonderful stretch. Good. And right to a vinyasa. So you'll take your hands down, take your left leg back, and lower down. Good. Chaturanga or to the floor, up dog or cobra. And downward facing dog. All right leg lifts up. Bend your right knee and open up the hip. Point the knee up towards the ceiling. Try not to collapse into the left arm too much, but use your right leg and hip to lift that knee up a little higher. Good. And now take the right foot and step it up in between your hands. Right? So high crescent lunge on the other side. Lift yourself up. Bend your back knee and drop down into your front knee. Lift your chest up, lift your arms up. But if need be, you start to straighten your left leg. Don't let it crank your back. Think of your spine in every pose that you do. Is it in alignment? Is it feeling good, right? Is it in this lifting position? You don't want to compromise that for the sake of any depth that maybe you could find in your lower body. Good. Reach up through the fingertips. Maybe lean back a bit. Nice. Settle down into your front leg a little bit more. Nice. And then place your hands on your hips and straighten your right leg. Turn yourself now to the left. Good. Bring your elbows back so your chest stays open and come down halfway. Good. Point your elbows up towards the ceiling. Let your back engage a little tiny bit. Now slide your hands down your outer legs and continue into a forward fold. Pulling your heels, your calves, your ankles, getting your chest a little bit more down and in between the legs. Nice. Tailbone lifts up. Roll the weight forward. Then let the head hang. Good. Tail lifts up. Well done. One more breath. Now place your hands on the floor under your shoulders. Push into the floor for a half lift. Reach your arms out to the sides, half lift, engaging your back. And now come back up to a stand. Nice, Christine. Turn your right toes towards the front of your mat. Slide maybe your left heel back. Good. Take a couple of pulses in your warrior two. Just down into your right leg, a little tiny bit. Good. And now hold your warrior two. Kind of find your stance here. Open up and drop down. Good. And then the pose is the pose. Now make it yoga. Make it a yoga pose, right? You go from pose to yoga pose by breathing. It makes all the difference in the world. Extension through the arms. Control of your breath, of your thoughts as you hold. There's a little bit of stress into the body. Good. One more breath. And then straighten the front leg and tilt towards it, triangle. Bring the right hand down, take your left arm up, open up. Good. Open all the way up, reach up through your arms again, hips come a little forward, firm up your legs, press the feet down, reach up through the left arm. Reverse it, inhale, come up, and lean back. Push into the ball of your right foot, take your torso way back. Good. And then take your hands, bring them all the way down to the front of the mat, and step your left foot up to the right. Take an inhale, half lift, and take an exhale, forward fold. Good. And inhale, breathing, stand. Come all the way up. Bring your arms up over your head, and take your hands to your heart center. Make sure your feet are a couple of inches apart for this. Take your hands, interlace your fingers, flip the palms away from you, and bring the arms up over your head. Ideally in line with your ears. Drop your tailbone down just a little bit and stand on your tiptoes. Urdhva Hastasana. Fantastic posture. We're going to do a lot of this next year. This is a great pose for your posture, for keeping length and strength in your body, your legs, and your arms. Good. Pull your belly in, keep pressing the hands up. Push the balls of the feet down, the toes down. Quads and calves engage equally. So your glutes a little tiny bit. Get a little taller, grow. And gently release. Heels down and hands to heart center. Let's run through that sequence one more time. Inhale, breathing. Bring your arms up over your head. Good. Exhale, breathing. Take a forward fold. Come on down. There you go. Inhale, half lift. Left leg steps back. High crescent lunge. Lift yourself up. Bring your arms up. Nice, Jane. Solid. Beautiful. Good. Right from here, open up warrior two pose. Bring the back heel down. There you go. Turn the torso. Watch the right knee. Make sure the right knee stays pointing forward. Beautiful. Triangle pose, straighten the leg, come forward with the right arm, bring your left arm up, open up your chest. Pull your ribs in so the chest is open, but you're not really flaring the ribs or arching the back into a back bend. It should feel more twisty than back bendy. Reverse the triangle, lift your torso up, go back, good Christine. Reach through the right fingertips, push through the ball of your right foot. Nice. Vinyasa, bring your hands all the way down, there you go. Take the right leg back, lower down, either halfway or all the way. Nice, Jane, lift up and back to downward facing dog. Okay. And other side, left leg lifts up. Bend your left knee. So we want to hold this little floppy little scorpion-like stretch in our hips and in our inner thighs. Beautiful. Stay firm in your right arm. And now take your left foot, step it up in between your hands. High crescent lunge. This can be a slow transition coming into the lunge. Lift your torso up, then lift your arms up over your head. Well done. Warrior two pose. Drop the back heel, that's it. Arms down parallel to the floor. Put weight into the heel, eye gaze over the left fingertips. Triangle pose, come forward, straighten your left leg. Bring your left hand down, good. Reaching the right arm up. Open up your chest, firm up your legs. That's very good. Reverse the triangle, bring it on back, good. Take it back. Use the power of your front leg to send the upper body towards the back leg. Nice. Bring your hands down onto the floor and step your back foot up to the front of the mat. Take an inhale, half lift. Take an exhale, drop. Inhale, breathing, come all the way up. And exhale, breathing, bring your hands to your heart. So we'll take a quieter balance. A really tree pose is such a beautiful and powerful posture. So we'll stand on the left leg to start and take the right foot up, bringing the sole of the right foot to the inside of your left leg. Firm up your left leg. So I want you to feel your left leg actually pressing into the bottom of your right foot and then vice versa. When you're ready, bring your arms up. Good. Reach up. Maybe a little wide, right? Maybe it's just a big billowy tree today. But the trunk, right, will always stay the same. That's your solidity, your balance in this case. Let your eye gaze settle somewhere. Feel the back engage with the arms come up over your head, and then bring the breath into this. Think less about the physical aspect, as demanding as it is. Think more of the energetic aspect, and it'll be such a wonderfully different experience. Letting the eyes kind of glaze over a bit, and just controlling your breathing. One more breath here. Nice. And then gently, hands to your heart. Really nice. And place your right foot down. Good. All righty. Other side. Take the left leg, lift that up to the inside of the right. Good. Hips, pelvis a little forward. And then as you're ready, you can reach your arms up. Nice. Hold this space, this length. Belly is in, glutes. Up on the right side, kind of fire up a bit. Try not to squeeze anything too tight. I don't want you to clench your way through yoga. Right? We use our strength. That's primarily our muscles, really. Not so much ligaments, certainly not joints or bones, though they benefit greatly. Yoga is wonderful for bone density. Right? All sorts of good studies regarding keeping our very dense part of our bodies strong. Lift up through the chest. Lovely. And then gently release. Very nice. And place your left foot down. One last vinyasa. Inhale, breathing. Arms up over your head. Exhale, breathing. Take a forward fold. Come down. Good. Inhale, half lift. And either step. Maybe you like to jump. Take it back. Good. Inhale, up dog or cobra. And exhale, breathing your downward facing dog. Good. From your down dog, come forward a bit. Place your right knee down, okay? And then take your left foot and step it up to the front of the mat. Bring it on the outside of your left hand. So you're working into this quasi-lizard pose position, but we're gonna stay on our hands. So we're not gonna come down any lower, all right? Lift your chest up, so find a little bit of a back bend, allowing the hips and the right side to drop down a bit. Now place your right hand off to the right and turn your left toes diagonally out to the left. Place your left hand on your left thigh and start pushing your chest away from your left leg. Let your right hip start to drop a little closer towards the floor. You're actually turning your torso towards the left. Very nice. And again, let that knee open up as much as you want. Lean your chest away from it. And then if you've got a little bit more, reach back with your left arm and grab your right foot. If possible, hold the pinky toe side of your foot. Don't pull the foot towards you. Let the foot pull your arm and your chest back. So let the leg go back just a bit. Yeah. Keep the right hip dropping down a little bit more. It's really a strong, beautiful variation of a lizard stretch. One more breath here. Good. And then gently release. Very nice. Bring your hand down. Step back to down dog just to release and stretch that all out once again. And then we'll go to the other side. So place your left knee on the floor, step your right foot up outside of your right hand, and allow your hips to come down and forward. Keep your chest lifted. So again, keeping in mind the quality of our spine in the stretch. Walk your left hand out to the left, turn your right toes out to the right, dial them out. Place your right hand on your right thigh and lean back. This side's a little tighter for me, so you won't see the kind of depth that you did on the other side. Let the left outer hip start to drop down as you turn your chest towards the knee, but you lean back at the same time. You got a lot going on in the back, in the hips, right? Hips dropping down, well done. And then if available, bending your left leg, reaching back, and grabbing your left foot with your right hand. Open up the chest. So now the quad starts to stretch and hips, and you have quite a bit going on in the body. Lean back a little bit more. Let the hips drop down a little bit more. Beautiful. And then release. Good. Bring your hand down. Take a slightly different version to our down dog. I actually just want you to take your feet a little wider, right? So maybe right out to the long edges of your mat, and just give your legs and your pelvis and your spine a little bit more space, a little bit more sway here. Your heels might come a little closer to the floor. We certainly got into the hamstrings a lot today in our class, right? Arms stay firm, right? Probably our deepest. It feels good to take down dog every once in a while, a bit of a wider stance to the feet. Right? It is not textbook correct, but it's still a posture with breath. So there you have it, yoga. Nice. And then gently release on down. Put your knees down on the floor. Good. Hands and knees. A few cats and cows. Really slow. The cat stretch. Lean your hips back a bit. Good. And then the cow, come a little forward. Right, and feel all this space, right? So much more deeper than when we would do this at the beginning of our practice. Nice. One more of these. Kind of wind it down a little tiny bit here. Good. And let's stop back in the center, hands and knees, and we'll thread the needle. Lean into the left arm, reach the right arm all the way up, and now slide the arm underneath your left arm, drop down to your right shoulder. Take your left hand wherever it's going to work for you. I usually move mine up a bit, pushing into it to keep the hips back. Get a wonderful lat stretch here. It's a bit of a convoluted posture. You don't want to make sure, you want to make sure you're not putting any weight really on your head or your neck too much. You want that right arm to bear the brunt and even the left hand of the weight. But then from there, you can really get this unique stretch into the spine. And keep the hips over the knees. Good. Allow this twist to come into the body. Breathe in and out through your nose. Good. Last breath here. And then release. And kind of push up through your left arm. Reach the right arm up again. It's just a nice counter stretch. And then bring the right hand down. Okay. Other side, please. Left arm, lift it way up. And now thread it underneath. Drop down. Reach your left arm really far out to the right. Get as much as you can into your left outer shoulder. Dropping the shoulder down. Letting the spine bring out just a bit. And mitigating some of the weight with the right arm. But then you can also find a little bit more depth by using that as well. Play around with these sensations. A little tightness getting into some muscles in the back. Good thing. And then find your even, rewarding breath. One more breath here. Love this pose. And then coming up. Yeah. Press into your right arm. Lift the left arm all the way out and up. And then bring your left hand down. Bring your toes and heels together, your knees together. Now tuck your toes under. We'll take a little toe stretch here. So start to bring your weight back. See if you can sit on your heels. Maybe you have to keep your hands on the floor in front of you as I am demonstrating. If possible, you take yourself up. Your toes won't snap off. Hold your chest up. Let's turn our palms up. Take the thumb and the index finger into a Gyan Mudra. Right, so as you're really getting into this very, very tough part of the body, the feet, I want you to feel whole, okay? And as one. The currents, the electrical currents that we produce in our body run through our fingers. This helps to keep that current moving. Your Gyan Mudra here, lightly touching the tips of the fingers together, bringing weight into the heel and into the arches of the feet. Take one more breath here. Enough is enough, right? Put your hands out on the floor in front of you. Place the tops of your feet on the floor. Sit back on your heels, Vajrasana, okay? Slide your hands even further back behind you. Start leaning into your arms and lift your knees up. This is so good for your shins. Oh, so good for your ankles and your feet. Let the weight come into it. The higher you lift the knees up, the deeper you're going to get in there. Find your spot, your breath, good. And then gently release. Very nice. Well done, everybody. Let's get ourselves onto our backs and we'll prepare Shavasana here. Okay? So you can take your feet out somewhat wide, somewhat wider. Let the toes flop out, soften the quads out to the sides as well. Arms by your side, palms face up. Take a few moments to squiggle and wiggle into whatever your sweet spot here is. And then close your eyes and let your body rest. We'll take a couple moments collectively here in Shavasana in silence. Breath a little deeper and roll your head a little bit left and right. Move your fingers with a little bit, wiggle your toes. Reach your arms up over your head and go for a full body stretch. Fingertips and toes. Very nice. And then bring your knees into your chest. Roll along your low back a little bit. Always do one of these in class. So nice look back. Let's bring ourselves up to a seat. Your hands into your knees. Come on up. Haven't really had our asana or in terms of the seated pose. So find that in yourself. Maybe legs are crossed. Propping yourself up some way. Let your palms lie facing up. So open to the rest of your day. Breathing with a little openness in your heart, maybe your mind, certainly in your body. It's all good. So we leave the asana, we leave so much of it here on the mat, and yet we take so many of these qualities and these energies with us into our days and our weekends, and it makes a difference. Take our arms up over our head. Stretch up. Bring your hands together and place them in front of your heart. Bring the chin to the chest. Grateful yet once again for your participation, for yoga, and for everything that we have. Thank you, everybody. See you next time, next week on your yoga mat. Namaste. Wonderful, wonderful work. So thank you. If you are watching this at another time than now, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Christine and Jane, and have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you all next week. Righty.